The rain poured in silver sheets against the wide glass windows of the Rosewood Grand Hotel, blurring the world outside into a hazy watercolor. Inside the warm-lit lobby, soft jazz hummed through hidden speakers. Most guests had already checked in for the night, but Mia was still at the reception desk, tapping away at the booking system. It was just another quiet Tuesday evening, until she saw him. He stood near the corner of the lobby, half in shadow, a man in his mid-40s, tall, with hair streaked faintly with silver. His coat was expensive but worn, as though it had weathered years of storms. He didn't approach the counter immediately. Instead, he lingered by the window, hands in his pockets, watching the rain like it was telling him secrets only he could hear. When he finally came forward, there was no trace of hurry in his step. His voice, low and unassuming, broke the quiet. "One night. Just the smallest room you have." Mia smiled politely. "Of course, sir. Do you have a preference for the floor or view?" "Doesn't matter," he said, glancing down at the marble floor like he was avoiding her eyes. She noticed something else: no luggage. No umbrella. Just a man carrying the weight of something invisible. The first challenge, the quiet mystery. Over the next week, the man returned, always alone, always booking for just one night. Sometimes he would vanish before breakfast, sometimes he would linger in the lobby, quietly sipping coffee. He never gave more than his first name, Daniel. Mia's co-workers whispered theories. Probably a businessman cheating on his wife. Or someone hiding from debt collectors. Or just a lonely guy with nowhere to go. But to Mia, he didn't fit any of those labels. She noticed the small things, the way he studied the old photographs of the hotel on the wall, the way his gaze softened when he saw staff helping elderly guests, the faint smile when a child ran past him laughing. One rainy night, Mia found him sitting in the deserted dining hall, staring at an untouched plate of pasta. She hesitated, then walked over. "Food not good?" she asked lightly. He looked up, startled. Then, after a pause, "No, it's fine. Just not hungry." There was something in his eyes, grief, raw and unhealed. The second challenge, the past he tried to bury. A week later, Daniel didn't come. Then another week passed. Mia almost forgot about him, until one Friday, he appeared again, drenched from the rain, looking more tired than ever. This time, he had a small, battered leather notebook in his hand. While she processed his booking, she noticed the name engraved faintly on the notebook's cover, Eleanor Rosewood. Mia froze. Rosewood. The same as the hotel. "You knew the original owner?" she asked, trying to sound casual. Daniel's jaw tightened. For a moment, it looked like he might turn and leave. But instead, he said quietly, "She was my mother." Mia's breath caught. "Your mother?" Daniel nodded, looking past her like he was seeing another time. This hotel, it was her dream. She built it from nothing. "I left years ago. I didn't come back when she got sick. And when she died. I inherited it. But I didn't deserve it." Mia didn't know what to say. She suddenly understood why he lingered in the lobby, why he stared at the walls. It wasn't just a hotel to him. It was the last piece of his mother. The third challenge, the hotel in trouble. 2 months later, the hotel's manager gathered the staff for a meeting. Business was down. Competition from luxury chains had eaten into profits. If things didn't improve, layoffs would be unavoidable. The news hit everyone like a punch. For Mia, the thought of losing her job was crushing. Her younger brother was in college, and her father's medical bills were piling up. That night, Mia saw Daniel again, sitting in the lobby. Without thinking, she sat across from him. "Daniel, they're going to start letting people go." He looked at her for a long moment, then exhaled. "I know. You know? I still get the reports," he said, voice low. "I've just been too much of a coward to step in. Mia's frustration bubbled over. Coward? Daniel, this place is your mother's legacy. People depend on it. You can do something. His hands clenched on the armrests. And if I fail again? If I ruin it completely? She held his gaze. Then at least you tried. At least you didn't just watch it die. Turning point, the return of the owner. A week later, Daniel walked into the lobby, not in his old worn coat, but in a tailored suit. Staff whispered in confusion as he asked to gather everyone in the main dining hall. When the employees assembled, Daniel stood before them, voice steady but soft. "My name is Daniel Rosewood," he began. "I am the owner of this hotel. I have been absent for too long. That ends now." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Daniel looked at the familiar walls, his mother's portraits, the people who had unknowingly served him coffee and cleaned his rooms. "I can't promise overnight miracles. But I promise you this, we will fight to keep Rosewood Grand alive. Together." From that day, Daniel worked alongside the staff, meeting with suppliers, upgrading the dining menu, arranging live music nights, and creating discounted packages for long-term guests. Mia often saw him staying late, going over plans, eyes tired but determined. Final challenge, the storm. Just when things began to improve, disaster struck. A massive storm swept through the city, flooding parts of the hotel. The ground floor lounge was ruined, several rooms were out of commission, and bookings plummeted. The insurance would cover some repairs, but not fast enough. Daniel faced the same decision again, close for good, or take a huge personal risk. One night, he sat in the lobby, head in his hands. Mia approached quietly. "You can't quit now," she said. "I'm not sure I have the money to keep going," he admitted. She leaned forward. "Daniel, when your mother built this place, she didn't know if she'd succeed. She just believed. If she could do that from nothing, you can do it with everything she left you." Daniel looked at her, and for the first time, the fear in his eyes gave way to resolve. The ending, a legacy reborn. Months later, the Rosewood Grand stood more beautiful than ever. The storm damage was repaired, the new events drew in guests, and the staff had grown into a family. Daniel often worked the lobby now, greeting guests personally. To most, he was just the friendly owner, but to Mia, he was the man who'd almost walked away from his legacy, only to find the courage to fight for it. One quiet evening, as they stood by the window watching the rain, Daniel said softly, "Thank you, for not letting me disappear." Mia smiled. "Your mother would have hated that." He chuckled, but there was a glimmer of tears in his eyes. And in that moment, the rain outside didn't seem so heavy anymore. Message. Sometimes, people run from the very things that make them who they are, out of guilt, fear, or pain. But the only way to honor the past is to step forward, not back. Courage isn't the absence of failure, it's the choice to keep trying, no matter how many times you've stumbled.